Alright guys, on this week's episode, we're going to talk about haircuts, bonfires, riding mopeds, why Mike left the house, and the Black Lives Matter movement. All this coming at you. Alright guys, so I hope you all enjoyed your Thanksgiving. I hope you spent it with your loved ones, and I hope you guys ate some really good food. I know I did. Every week I put out a recap, and it's usually just an overview of what happened in the episode. But this week I'm going to try to do something a little different. I've been reading your comments, and you guys have been asking for more of a behind-the-scenes look at what really happened when we were filming. So we're going to start out. As the show opened up, we're in the barbershop. All the guys are there. We're getting fresh haircuts. We're getting fresh lines. As we're in the barbershop, you see Theo talking about his past football career and Cass and him going back and forth. You know, little rivalry between each other, which, you know, is probably good for their relationship, that they get to joke around a little bit. Like they said, you know, from where they're from, it's all about hitting each other with the verbal assault. In their world, that's them getting along. We'll see how long that lasts. We're going to rewind a little bit. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a background on why we went to Ocean Shores. On Capitol Hill in Seattle, they have this event called Block Party, and we weren't able to get clearance to go to Block Party. So the producers made the executive decision to get us in advance, take us about 3 hours away to Ocean Shores. There's a lot to do. You see Theo, Mike, Jordan, and Nico went and flew kites, while me, Cass, Lana, Pete, and Jen rode mopeds. I don't even know why they let me take that moped out. I was a little reckless on it. I was zipping up and down the street. On a more serious note, one of the things that we did when we were in Ocean Shores was we built a bonfire. We actually went onto the beach, and I built this ginormous fire. I used a little bit of my Boy Scout skills. Mike came up with the idea of doing this candle pass that he did back in college with his fraternity brothers. We talked about some serious topics, and there were some serious questions asked, and you know, we were all able to find out a little bit more about each other on a deeper level. And it came to one point in the game where Mike opened up about his past, where he was incarcerated for 15 days due to drugs. While he was locked up, he told us that he had to join the Aryan Brotherhood for protection. Immediately after that, the camera cuts to Peter, where Peter says not to always believe everything that Mike said. Peter confirms that he was locked up, that he had a drug addiction, but other than that, he really doesn't know. One of my favorite things to make is a peanut butter and banana sandwich. So, you know, first you got to get the bread, you got to toast it, you got to get the peanut butter on there, then you got to cut the banana up nice and little and get it on top of there, squish it, cut it in half, and dunk it in milk. Jordan seemed to have a problem with that and thought that was a little gross, so something that we would do to pass the time and have a little fun in the house was the J&R&J show. And we would do little Twitter polls, and you know, this one actually made air. So I really want to know, what do you guys think about my peanut butter and banana sandwich? Do you think it's gross? I think it's freaking delicious. Let me know what you think in the comments below. All right, so we've come to the point of the recap where I have to talk about some serious topics and some not so fun things that happened this episode. They didn't show this in this episode, but we started the night out at Chop Suey. Chop Suey is a bar slash club. Chop Suey actually asked me to DJ that night, and you guys see that the cashier said, hold up, we gotta wait for Robbie. Robbie's coming, and I had my backpack on, which I had my laptop, my Serato box, and all my headphones in, so that was our first stop of the night. As the roommates are making their way down the 95 slide, Jordan and Mike are talking, and Mike makes a really racist comment to Jordan and kind of tries to play it off as a joke. Jordan isn't okay with it, and I don't think anybody would be okay with that comment. Jordan goes up to Theo and Lana and tells them what Mike says, and they're both taken back. We're at 95 slide, and Pete comes running up to me and tells me that Mike's in the bathroom, punching walls, freaking out. I really don't know what's going on. None of the roommates really knew what was happening with Mike until after he left the house. So when we got back to the house and Mike started packing his bags and he started freaking out, you know, we were all still really lost, and we didn't really find out what Mike said until he left the house. In his closing interview, he states that he was drunk, that he lives in Spanish Harlem, that he's not racist in any way, shape, or form, and that he really didn't mean what he said. You know, being from New York, I would think you would be a little bit more open-minded. You know, New York is a big melting pot of all different races, all different people from all different walks of life. He should be wiser than that. We're now in the public eye. We should be setting an example. We live in a world that's extremely messed up, and we should be doing everything in our power to help set the example to make this world a better place. It's about the mutual respect that we have for the person next to us. The complete stranger that we see in the supermarket, or we see at the gym, or we see when we go out to eat with our friends or our family. You know, it's how we treat others. You know, how do you right that wrong? How do you make that statement better? You know, I don't think you can. I don't think that there's a right answer to that. But I think you could become more educated. I think you could sit down with those people that you hurt and apologize to them and, you know, make it clear that you were wrong and, you know, I've now learned from that situation and I'm not going to do it again. Mike needs to grow as a person and realize what he said is wrong, that it wasn't funny, that it wasn't a joke. And, you know, he left the house, and I hope while he was home, he was able to fix himself and understand the magnitude of what he said and the seriousness behind it. So once Mike left, Cass found out what Mike actually said and tried to wake the house up to have a family meeting to talk about the situation that just happened. We've been drinking a lot all night, and it wasn't the right time to have this conversation. So Theo got up to get his cousin to go back to sleep, lay down, cool off. Cass took it as Theo didn't take the situation serious. And Theo definitely did take the situation serious. And he thought that we could talk about it at a later time. And they started to get into a little bit of an altercation. And T ran in and separated the two. And, you know, T can only do so much between two grown men. So, you know, I ran out there, separated the two. And, you know, Cass finally went back into his room to cool off. Theo went back onto his opposite side of the house for him to cool off as well. I don't want to see these two get into a physical altercation. During this Black Lives Matter protest, you really didn't get to see how many people actually came out to this walk. There had to be close to, you know, 2,000, 3,000 people that marched down the streets of Seattle. And it was really cool to be a part of and, you know, to help spread the message of unity. I hope we can all work together to make the world a better place. You know, I'm really proud of Cass for stepping up in front of that big of an audience and speaking his mind. So I really commend him for what he did. So that's it for this week's episode. If you watched the after show, you were able to see a little sneak peek into next week's episode. I wanted to make a traditional Italian meal for the house, and I called my mom to ask for a recipe, and she informs me that she's actually sending out a care package with everything I need to make a traditional dinner. So next week should be a lot of fun. I can't wait for you guys to see my cooking skills. I hope you guys liked this video, so make sure to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Comment below, let me know what your thoughts are, and ask any questions that you may have. All right, guys, I'll see you next time.